for this opportunity. I definitely have a unique experience about investments that sharing.
Ladies, for sure. So welcome everybody. As always, I am your host, known as Marcel, aka the World Mentor, and this is the Wealthy Sibling. Wealthy Sibling podcast is based on, the fact that we all have a story, especially in our family. We all have a money story. And I wanted to talk about with my favorite person of our experience at InvestFest, right? So Kristen, right,
Mhm.
is a passionate community connector, which I love. An educator. She educates the babies. You guys gotta go watch her videos. I love her videos, babies. Dedicated to the expansion of all people throughout authentic connection, joy, intellectual expansion, and helping practices. Currently, as a first grade teacher, is actively changing the trajectory of children's lives by educating them to learning on how to learn instead of being indoctrinated and then what they think. Correct?
Yes. Yes, and you said that perfectly. Thank you for the introduction. I am deeply committed. I am deeply committed to changing the trajectory of not just young people's lives, but that kind of bleeds over into what you said, like our families and what we learn and how we learn the things. We're gonna get into the conversation about InvestFest, and it was a transformative experience for me because it made me realize some of the things I was indoctrinated to think. Do
Hmm.
not allow for the same space as wealth in the mindset and perspective. And so it's very important to kind of uproot that as early as possible. And that's the work I'm doing right now.
I think that I like that. So, for those who may not know, like, yes, you get your bio, but like, where you from? What shaped your mindset of money, even into George, like your career and your journey? Like, take us through that.
Okay. Oh, I'm from the south side of Chicago, east side crazy, day to the lake, I live, I live in Inglewood right now, and I'm deeply committed to the work at Inglewood. I am a community connector, Inglewood activist. I also do work in Pilsen with Healthy Hill Chicago. So there are lots of parts of my heart in the city. And I think my money mindset and what has shifted that for me, definitely thinking about my upbringing and I would say that I was a pretty privileged child because I was in all type of things. I didn't learn how to ride a bike until the pandemic, honestly. And just even when I was younger, I was always in a program. I was always in an after school program or something that was enriching my quality of life. And that's why I feel like I was privileged because I was exposed to a lot of things and the money mindset around that. And now as an adult, I'm like, man, swim classes cost this much. I was in, yeah, ballet, cheerleading, like all these things that I was exposed to. But my parents didn't see it as a money problem. They didn't see it as like we don't have enough money for that. They knew that the value that I was going to have from those experiences would carry over into my adult life 10 times over how much it costs. And so I grew up feeling privileged for sure and wanted to give children those same experiences, but also realizing it was their mindset of like, this is an investment in my child and it's going to pay off in the future. So I kind of took that same perspective and applied it to myself and to my classroom and to the things that I allow my children in my classroom to experience. And it has helped me invest in myself in things that aren't as immediately tangible.
Yeah.
And that but will feel me and fuel me for the future of what I see myself doing for sure.
Okay. So you know the value of
I'm back. Can you see me?
yeah, yeah, you're back. You're back. All right. So you know the value of its exposure,
Yes.
like what that does for children, especially young children,
Yeah.
and the long run.
Yeah.
So now let's go here. So with you being a person who is what I see is pure ambition.
Mm.
I'm talking about you a striver, you go for what you know. I see you as a media girl, you know what I'm saying? Top tier, like I can see you on box rules, WG, and like real high. That's what you give me, right? I'm saying being the teacher is dope, but that's what I get from you. So, um, what would you say, or when you, all right? So, get back to it though. Um, when it comes to like going on that journey of being a wealthy sibling or wealthy relative who's paving a new financial path and striving to go into places like these, what does that role look and feel like to you?
Mm, that's a great question. I am an only child, so the wealthy sibling for me is myself and the family tree that's going to come for me. But I also have people in my family who paved the way in a way for wealth, and so I was exposed to stocks and trading and wealthy mindset seminars and books early on. But my aunt, who it's probably the shout out to Auntie. She's probably the wealthiest person in our family. She isn't the wealthy type that's like, here you go, you can have it. She's like, no, I need you to read this book and this book before you go come ask me for some money, you know? And I appreciate that because she is laying the foundation for my generation and the ones after me to kind of to appreciate the wealth and to know what to do with it and how to sustain it. And I actually tried to get her to come to Invest Fest. She was like, she had never heard it on your lead. I was like, how are you this wealthy lady and you don't know about these people? So I was excited to really put her on to, you know, everybody.
All the women
Yes,
families is crazy.
yes. I was excited to put her on, and she's like, "Next year we're definitely going to rent a bus." I said, "Okay, we can you do all right. That's cool, but next year we're in a whole different place when we go there." So it's exciting to know that
Okay.
she didn't know about it. She didn't get a chance to come this time, but what did happen? Um, it's about I'm the only child, but I have a lot of cousins, and I was down there first day I got down there, and my dad is like, "Yeah, you should call your cousins." And my auntie just said she dropped them off at the airport. I was like, I wonder where they're going. They going to the same place you at. They in Atlanta too. I wonder if they're at the same thing. I called my cousins and come to find out they were there too. And we hadn't planned it. We hadn't talked, but my blood cousins, the two people, they're brothers. So there's three of them. Justin, Jaleel, and Jesse. Justin and Jaleel came together, and they're the wealthy siblings for sure. And to know that we were all on the same frequency to be at Invest Fest and didn't know that either were coming was just such an affirmation that we are the ones to transition our family from being, middle class, comfortable,
Yeah.
some type of wealth to really exponentially taking off. And the whole weekend, it was an alignment. I met a new cousin that I didn't know from their side of the family. I met some family down there for the first time. So that was really powerful, and it changed it changed me. It changed me. It allowed my priorities to kind of tighten up and shift in a way that I needed for sure.
Oh man, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
That invest fest in this type of movement like truly will bring together a family.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. So let's get into investments like we're through. So since we both had the chance to really see Invest Fest 2025, I've been going to Invest Fest for probably since they started. Like Tyler Perry, I think the first one's 2020, 2021. What what was one or two, because you probably had more than one powerful takeaway from you being at Invest Fest that really shift where you was to where you're going to be in your financial journey?
Mm. Definitely more than I had a lot of takeaways. This was my first time coming to the Fest Fest, so
The first one.
yeah, the first one, the first experience, and it was some controversy around me going. And the weekend that I went, and I just decided to take a leap. I actually caught the tickets. I was watching one of the Market Mondays where, where Block was sponsoring 100 tickets for 50% off. And I ended up watching that Market Mondays late. I watched it at like 2 a.m. because it's summertime. I'm a teacher, right? I was like, I'm off. I could be up. And I watched it like 2 a.m., 2 or 3 a.m. And I heard them say it. And I was like, you know what? I probably missed that. No, it's 100 people that seen it by now. They done got it by now. Yeah. Something told me to try it. went on there, put in the code, and had a 50% off. So I was like, oh, I gotta go now. It was such an impulsive decision. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go now. I've been talking about wanting to go and everything. So that was alignment. And I think my biggest takeaway was just getting that ticket. It was like you don't cheat yourself out of something just because you feel like you're not gonna get it, or you don't have what you need at the moment. I didn't know where I was staying. I didn't know anything about the flight. I just bought the ticket. I was like, yeah, let me do it. And that moment I felt again when I was there. I felt like, let me just jump into it. Let's do it. I have all the information I need. I just need to put the action behind it. That's one of the takeaways. Another takeaway was that I don't have to, as a teacher and someone who feels my purpose is bigger than the classroom, I struggle a lot of times with being like, okay, I'm here, but I feel like I'm wasting potential, or like I need to be doing something else and making a bigger impact outside of just these 30 kids that I got in my classroom. And that weekend in the Vest Fest reminded me, like, no, this is the foundation. This is where you take that seed and continue to plant it multiple times over and over, and not just in the classroom, and what you're doing outside of the classroom, and investing in yourself so that the branches expand. And Eric Nash, the 1%er, I remember he had this staircase, and he talked about how to take a paycheck from $200 and what it's specifically what to do with each step. And that blessed me in a way that was like, okay, even if I get muddled in all the information that I have, because it's a lot of information, right? It's a lot of ways you can go. And I read You Deserve It to Be Rich. That was one of my Stairmaster reads. I read when I'm on a Stairmaster. And I finished that book and was like, oh yeah, okay, this is my money mindset, the things I was thinking about money and how it's been handed down from my family and all of that. It still had me. It was a lot of information overload. And when Eric Nash presented, he put the staircase on the screen, and I just remember, how your sinuses clear up. I don't know if you've had this feeling, like when something happens in your brain or you get a piece of information, it's like I didn't know my nose was stuffed, but my sinuses are clear now. It was like a revelation. So he put that on there. I was like, oh yeah, this is something that everybody needs to see because it's so practical. Like, it was step by step, exactly what to invest in that will give you a return on investment so that you can invest it in the next step. Those are my biggest takeaways.
Wow. Man, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it's like you said. Yeah. For me, oh man, it was a more internal and personal type of way. For me, it was you have all the information you need, and that comes from probably for me because I've been since first one. And as a returning person, and I still got jewels. Don't get me wrong. Like the Magic Johnson thing, I got 3 years. That 3 year thing stuck in my head. So, all right, you got 3 years. Let's go. To do it and to really get to the mission, to the goal of where you want to be in life. But for me, it was a confirmation that Marcel, you have everything to serve your community. You have information. You've been trading. You've been applying. Go out here and go. And that now it's about cultivating partnerships. You know what I'm saying? Cultivating relationships and seeing how can you bring this back, like to the city and to the people that you want to serve. So, like, I met up with the female CEO of Ken Apparel. Shout out to her. She won Miss Business's contest. She placed one out of three. She was one of the contestants, one that she won money for. And Ken Apparel, a lot of people don't know, so I started being public about this when I said that I'm an investor. I invest privately and publicly. So I own companies like Microsoft, I own shares and stuff like that. But also when Ken Apparel did what they call seed rounds. So funders who are trying to raise money, for those that don't know and who are listening to this, funders who are trying to raise money, they do seed rounds and go for similar to GoFundMe rounds to raise capital for the business. And she was like, "Hey, I got this thing called Ken Apparel. It's Ken is short for kinfolk. Like, I love the slogan, right? Everybody's in kinfolk then about, and the clothing was fine. So I remember the first time I seen the clothing, it was in the airport. And it was funny because it was was a black love couple, right? That's what I call it because it was two. They were like middle age. They probably were like 45,
Mhm.
50, and they had the Ken hoodies on. I'm like, yo, and I seen the kente cloth in the back. So I'm like, hey, yo, where you get the hoodies from? They're fire. I love the kente cloth. I love Afrocentric stuff. And it was like, yeah, it's this apparel called Can Apparel.
Yeah.
And I talked to them about what they do because usually people who buy those type of brands, buy black owned clothing is out of a particular mindset, or they want to be forefront. So I was like, hey, you know what you doing? And of course, they were entrepreneurs, and they told us the black girls that they've been married for so far. So I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta go buy it. And it was just dope to meet them. So long story short, she came out with a GoFundMe. I invested, and to see her grow from there was just that was like 2022. She ended up on Chase commercials. I literally seen the same investment that I made. I'm like, yo, my investment is really paying off. And then just the personal growth was just dope. So things like that. Another was the women's camp with Tabitha and oh, hey, I don't forget her name. The lady that owns Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
That as an entrepreneur probably was one of the most impactful, just to have those conversations and to see her specifically stand on, like, I ain't trying to sell nothing. Like, it's great as entrepreneurs and those who are on the wealth journey, like, all right, you build your company, go sell it, go make some money, change people's lives. But for a person like me who is trying to make us a seat at the table, right? Be one of those people who help us get a seat at the table, to hear her conviction and like, you can give me all the money. You can give me $1 trillion at a month. I'm not selling it. And
Yeah.
that was a confirmation to me. And like, no, you can work for something, but be proud of what you built.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. That panel moved me too. Learning about her story and her getting sued and her coming back from being sued and all of the things that are like, ah, these are the gems that panels. Yeah, please tell me all the things you've done, what you learned,
Yeah.
and what I can not do so that
Yeah.
we can progress forward. But I absolutely appreciated her perspective on, yeah, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I want to be the one that provides, that definitely that hit home.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tabitha, I like the Tabitha's perspective. Tabitha perspective, because I thought I was going to be controversy for this because one of my good friends, Carlton, was at InvestFest with us. I remember when I went to Target. And, Tabitha got into that whole scandal about like her perspective because she has a brand in Target. And I was like, I can completely understand that.
Hmm.
And I support a lot of black businesses. There was my brother Carlton owns Black Man Smile. So when they first came out with in February, right? When Target did the big February thing, I went and did a post to make sure I supported everybody, put a video, and I bought his stuff. I actually ended up meeting him at an event called Waymakers. This hosted out here in Chicago. But for me, I was like, I understand why she's saying this because she needs to, as a black person who is in these
Hmm.
big corporation businesses, because sometimes while this may be a good stance for our community, sometimes we forget that we are impacting our own people. I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, I could see that. I could see
Yeah, yeah.
that. So this question is, when you talked about this being a place of opportunity, right, and that you got a chance to connect not with your family, but with other people, like who did you connect with at InvestFest? Um, Even if they did inspire, maybe you connected with one of the people on the stage. Like, what was that like? And then how do you see that relationship um, maybe 10xing or sparking your journey?
Whew. Okay, so this is another experience that I had that was like, this is alignment. When I met my cousin, for the first time, he actually owns a content bar called Flick Atlanta down there. So
Okay.
me and my friend went to Flick Atlanta and we, supported his business. And another person that we met that's actually from Chicago, one of my friends, he owns a business. called Arc. It's his name is Nana, and he owns a business. He created a retrofit e-bike, so he can turn any bike into an electric bike by putting his motor on it. He ships the wheel and the motor come, and you install it in 5 minutes. And so he was doing test rides. Did a test ride with a guy that's from Chicago. The guy actually went to high school with his mom. His mom was a teacher. My friend's mom was a teacher at the school that he went to high school with. We all from Chicago. Just random test ride, all from Chicago. The guy had a house in Atlanta. So that night, the Saturday night, we went to his house. He had a barbecue, impromptu barbecue. Just went there, met another woman who was not from Chicago but had family in Chicago, and we ended up talking for 6 hours. Like I had a 6 hour conversation with perfect strangers. Yeah, I put on her a dot card that like you tap your card to it and makes a profile. He like gave us all dot cards, and it was the host of an event yesterday called the Black and Brown. He was one of the co-facilitators of the Black and Brown Fest. And I was like, this is enough, like so much alignment is crazy. So those relationships, we made a group chat. It's called Invest Fest Cousins, like because sitting there talking to six perfect strangers for 6 hours was so transformational in a way that was like, wow, the 6 degrees of separation is real. When you come into a space in a certain frequency and you're aligned with people and you have that heart space of this is what I'm here for, this is what I want to do, people start naturally gravitating, and that these experiences happen if you lean into them. And so leaning into that experience, I met a new family member, was able to support his business, and then made new friends. Like these are, what I'm saying, these are my friends. I'm about to go put in a group chat like, hey, check this out. And we've been sending each other videos, and it's so powerful because I think had I not leaned into the desire to make connection, I could have walked away with definitely some value, but I mean, it's neck and neck. Like the value from InvestFest versus the value that I got from this group of strangers is like yes, but please are so important for me to bring back home. And I think those relationships definitely will 10x over just in our interests and the things that we're all like involved in. One of the women was a investor for her company. She's the angel investor for her company, and so to have her plug myself, right, her to have her in the room just sharing her natural story. She's like, "Oh yeah, this is what I do for work." We like, what are the odds that you're here with three startup founders who are here to literally like it was incredible, and I will never forget that night. That is a core memory for me. And I'm super grateful for those connections, and not even in a way that, because for me, a lot of times I walk into a room and I'm like, I don't have a product, I don't have anything that I'm like, yeah, visit my website and support me. I'm just me. Yeah. And so a lot of times I find myself stuck in the conversation of like people like, what do you do? And I'm like, I do a lot. I connect the pieces. And so it was such a special moment for those pieces to be connected in that moment. And I'm moving forward. It's just going to help me clarify what it is that I'm offering and serving to my community for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Man, I was so happy. I asked you to do this with me, though. I learned that like this is dope. Yeah. Okay. So, on your platform, you share a lot of energy and authenticity. Truly, like you give me the same energy. The way they talk about Tap Dog, I talk about you extensionally, even if they didn't know this. Like you naturally give this loving, and I want you to progress energy wherever you go. Anytime I see you. So how do you use that presence online and offline? Not only to build like your wealth, but what do you do? Like when you inspire your kids, when you inspire the community.
Thank you for asking that question. I think this is a question I've been asking myself, like, how do I do it online? Offline, I'm just me. But more people have poured into me and affirmed that I need to do it more online. So you're seeing me at the start of being online. And it's funny, at the beginning of this, you was like, you see me as a media person. I'm the least media literate out of all of my friends. TikTok still I still work. Is it? Not use it. What is that? What's this? Literally. um, And so I received that in a way that lets me know that I'm on a path to doing something that, is aligned. And it's probably one of my purposes here is to use this vehicle and this medium type to get a message across for sure. In real life, I think that I am just you know how when people get good news and you could tell that somebody is really excited for that person getting the good news. That's how I feel. I am a person that really loves to encourage, and I see things in a unique way. So I have a perspective. I'm able to look at a problem and assess it from different angles, but also offer that advice in a loving way that's not too overbearing. I also feel in real life that the connection between different thoughts and perspectives and allowing people to see a different view is something that I really do naturally, and I love to do it. So in serving my community and in the classroom, I give children a chance to ask questions. I was a kid who was like, but why? And so every time I get that question, we leaning into it. It's like, this is why. And you got another one? Okay, I got something else for you. And I think that continues to build the container for them to, like I said in the beginning, like, teaching them how to think and not what to think. Teaching them how to question things. Teaching them how to look at things from a different perspective. Is something I truly value, because when you think about wealth building, you have to reiterate and you have to reinvest and you have to compound. And when you understand that the immediate gratification of, oh, okay, I know this thing and this is what this thing looks like, so this is what it is. When you break free of that mindset early on, you can really understand the compound interest of investing. You can understand the compound impact of investing, and how what you do right now might not affect your day-to-day life or quality of life, but in the long run it's going to exponentially expand things, like, and that's important. That's an important mindset to have for sure. So in my real life, that's, I think it, when I think about it in my real life, I'm like, I just love to catch moments of joy, to help people connect the dots, and to serve community. But that serves a deeper purpose, especially when I am able to express it on platforms like this, and really get into the nitty gritty of why I'm doing it.
You just, that's how you know you read. You just had to get cover to cover. Guys, so uh,
It's just different clips.
for sure, we're using different clips for sure, for sure. All right, so like we said before, just in case y'all did notice, we were talking about our experience at InvestFest. Um, our big recaps, the things that we took the most from it, the biggest takeaways, and things in that manner. For me, I think because I feel like I can see you can see me, and I love to set it. So either way, y'all. We were talking about our experience at Invest Fest. We talked about a lot. Man, where were we? I think the last place that we left off in the conversation though was it was the networking part. It was the networking part. Yeah. So let's just recap from there real quick. So who did you connect with that inspired you, and how do you feel or how do you see that relationship funding your future?
Mm. So I connected with a multitude of people there, but the most impactful connections happened organically. I was helping my friend get test rides for his retrofit e-bike kit. It's called the e-venture. And so if you all want to check that out, shameless plug, it definitely exposed me to people who ended up being from Chicago. And so talking to them, the whole, what school you go to, what side of town you from rivalry definitely connected us more, and we learned more about what each other did. And I randomly went to a barbecue that one of the guys was having at his house. He has property in Atlanta, so I learned more about the Airbnb space, and he had an Airbnb in Atlanta, so we had a barbecue at his house randomly, and I talked to six perfect strangers for 6 hours. It was literally 4 it was like 4:30 in the morning, and we were all like, we don't want to leave, but it's been such a good conversation, you know. I think that the connections I made with my cousins, so I call them InvestFest cousins, we got a group chat, are priceless. And I think they'll fund my futures in a way that is more than just monetary. It's gonna continue to bring more than 6 degrees of separation, and being exposed to their networks, because we had a genuine connection. It wasn't like I'm networking to see how my business can help your business. It was a true connection of community. What is your life? We learned about my life story. Everybody told a little bit about their life story, how they ended up at the point to being in the Vets Fest. We heard some stories about Peru, and if we ever traveled to Peru, what we would experience. And one of the people who was in a conversation actually gave us his business is a dot card. It's a version of dot cards called a I don't want to mess the name up, but it's a black card, and you tap it to your phone. He's created his own, so it's black
This a
owned.
black owned business.
Yeah, and
Oh
I'll get
yeah,
the
yeah,
name
yeah.
for you after this. Yeah, we'll get the name for you after this. But he gave everyone in the room one for free. He set up our profiles and everything. So that was,
Okay.
I mean, that was amazing. And I think the connection will continue to be fruitful because it was genuine. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
what's going to be the ROI on this conversation? It's like, nah, we connected in a way that will keep us connected for many years to come, for sure.
Okay. Okay. No, that's dope. I definitely believe in the art of God guiding you to the people you need to connect with, and then showing
Yes.
you in real time what that type of favor
Yes.
is on the 6 degrees of separation. Two instances. Um, well, yeah, so two main instances who ended up being at InvestFest. So one is Carlton Mackey, which is the owner of Black Men Smile. He's been featured on BET. I think he's been featured on Revolt and Extension as well. He did a collaboration with Pastor Bryant, was on the stage. So one of the speakers at 6 degrees of separation, when Pastor Bryant was doing his notion about, moving away from major stores like Target and so others, and really trying to hone in on the black dollar, understanding the staple the that the black economy has and the power that we have. So he brought Black Men Smile out, which is crazy. But the way that we ended up connecting, and he's got me featured. We had just an interview not too long ago. Um, it was at Waymakers back in like 2022. And I always shout out Waymakers for the city, because like when I say Nick Cannon, D Rose, D Wade, they walk right by you. I'm talking about like there's no like heavy set of security. They're
Yeah.
right there in front of you. It's no more than maybe like 100 men in a room, and there's this um entrepreneurial side to it because they drop gems, but there's this personal side to it because it's like less than like 100 men in the room. So you really get a feel of like, hey, this is who I am as a person, but these are the gems that I have for you. And I met Carlton there, and I was very big on supporting black businesses. And his son was doing merch. I bought his son merch because as a mentor, for those who don't know, another reason why I go by the wealth doing the wealth semblance, because I'm an actual wealth mentor and I mentor kids out here in Chicago. Shout out to Champs Mentoring, and we're opening up
Mhm.
a section and segment for our women, for young girls. So hey, if you ever want to come out, that's a plug for you. If you ever want to come out and talk to them about, what a media girly and all that. So for sure. But crazy thing is, we hadn't had each other's numbers. Like we done interviews together. He's brought me on the show, but we didn't have each other's numbers, and it was just by God happens as I'm going. Remember, also, if y'all didn't catch, I don't know if we said this. Me and her know each other relatively well from the time we first met to like just being out in the city and doing the things that we doing. But we spent the whole weekend in the same place and did not see each other. So yeah, this gig, like number one, how big the place is, but just like when you on a certain type of time, and you striving for your dream, you focused, you focused. So I think God brought us back to share like, yo, this was our experience because we like completely like, hey, this is what my weekend was like. This is what your weekend was like, and it was just things like that. But we ended up meeting at Invest Fest, and then he ended up putting me back on his show
Mm-hmm.
and they both become those two men, Jamal Walker and Carlton Mackey, both become like my big brothers and mentors. So they dive into me and stuff like that. So for me, when I talk about like what I get from learning from these men is we're everyday men, and we go through a lot, but we can climb to all these heights, right? So that's what I got from that. Now, okay, so where are we? Ah, okay. So let's talk about this. Let's phrase it this way. With the experience and the things that you learned from InvestFest, how has that changed, or what will you utilize going into the rest of 2025 and 2026 with your platform? Is there anything that, like, hey, I'm going to use this tip, or I might go into this lane with, who you want to become? I stay authentically you because I love it.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that question. I think, I being asked that question again just cements it more in my mind because the momentum is high, right? When you're there, and they always like, yeah, 50% of the people in this room not gonna go home and make the first move on Monday, right? And um, I think it's super important to re-question yourself and have that momentum be back in the air. And for me, the first step and the next steps really look like getting organized, and more residual income, right? Because I know what to do with the income. I have all the answers. It's now getting organized so that I know where every penny is going in terms of the debt that I was speaking on last time, because the student loan debt and not having the confidence to apply for grants, and then finding out there are so many grants, and then winning a grant, it's like, oh, I can do this. You know, I know what to do now. I'm articulate in a way that can help me access
Yeah.
and express my passions in a whole bunch of ways. So
Yeah.
for me, it really looks like getting organized and being tedious about it. As a teacher, there are so many details that I have to think about and front load so many things to help 6-year-olds be successful. And I kind of have to treat myself the same way. It's like, all right, if we need to lay out all the documents in a rectangle so you can see the progression of it, then do that, and I encourage people that I talk to who kind of see problems as like this overarching overwhelming thing, to break it down into little pieces. And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm dissecting every little thing, and it's like, okay, how much interest is this? Every day that goes forward, you put in this much interest on it. Okay, we at day 13, so it should be this. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And it's funny because this is the part that makes people say, you know, this is the piece that this part that makes people say F it. They're like,
Yeah.
it's too much to think about. But I think when you really get a hang of it and a flow into it, it's empowering, because it's like, oh, that small change really did made a huge difference. And just keeping my foot on the gas, remembering and reminding myself, going through the pictures and investments, like, all right, I made a folder. Clear.
He was scared.
Yeah, and they were telling us, they were like, take a screenshot, take a screenshot. And so I made a folder, and it's like, instead of, sometimes when find myself disassociated, instead of scrolling on Instagram, I go through my camera roll. When I take social media breaks, my camera roll is Instagram for me. And I just, I want to look at a picture. I'm like, oh, I do remember this. Oh, I forgot about this. I go back years and I'm like, oh, wow, you know? And so continuing to take in the information is also something that I think a lot of people don't do. Like it's so many people who probably have all those pictures in their phone, but they're just gonna stay there. They're like, oh, okay, I went to get the information and now it's just in my head. No, it's like studying. You have to study your notes. And if the notes are pictures, you have to put them in front of your face and actually look at them. Okay, and once you look at them, write them down again so you know what it's saying and it's not just in your phone. And so that's the process now. It's just like there's a couple of sides. I was like, oh, I just took a picture, but I didn't digest what this actually was, especially I keep talking about him more, but Eric Nash put his mentor's portfolio up there. I was just like, oh man, this is a gem. This is a gem. And he gave us his website, the templates, all in the moment I went to his website. It's still bookmarked on my phone. But I took
Eric
it
with a K.
to take it with a C, Eric Nash. EricNash.com. And so all of his templates are on his website for free. And it's like, man, in the moment, I couldn't go on his website and download the templates, but now that's a homework assignment. Every day, one day a week, every day, I'm doing something, whether it be looking at the slides and taking notes or going on his website to get the templates, then printing them out and making my own folder. Just these small things that as a teacher, I know to do, but I know people in different professions might not have those routine skills to be able to organize themselves, and that's really what it takes.
Oh, I know him. I know him from TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Instagram was Eric Khan. Where he do like AI consulting, research, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I know him from TikTok. That's crazy. And you know what? You know what's so funny? Because I literally just went on his right now on his Instagram page, and that was another thing that a lot of people don't notice. Number one, I want to highlight something you did for our community was you didn't let the no's, the obstacles keep you from your goals, because a lot of people like, man, I didn't get this grant, I didn't get that grant, I didn't get this yes. And they always tell you one yes away from the trajectory and changing their life. And he was like, no, I'm getting that one yes, and you got it. So that's amazing. And then the second thing was people think that you have to be like super duper famous. People think that you have to be super duper put on in our terms to get somewhere and to claim yourself as established. That man has 5,000 followers on Instagram right now. I knew a dude that was a speaker on the stage that had 2,000 followers on, and I was like, oh, okay. If he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
So it's those type of things to me that I think our people really need to hear and pay attention to.
Yes.
Let's do this. It's when a challenge. Okay. So now we did speak on that why you are not a sibling, right? As far as when the actual definition of siblings is brother, sister, stepbrother, sister, so forth. But I also want to include like being the wealthy relative, because I feel like and all when you become the person out of your family uh who begins to become successful is dean. Like, and if you graduate from law school, like you're the oh you think you're better than the rest of the family and things of that nature. So, as the wealthy relative in your case, or wealthy sibling, what cycles are most intentional about you breaking those from your family, and how do you balance that responsibility without losing yourself?
Well, that's a great question. Um, I would say the cycles and some that I noticed in myself early on was like, where did I even get this from? It's my family's money story. Like they talk about the money, like what your money story is in your family, the secrets of the wealthy and that book. And they also touched on it in You Deserve to Be Rich. But um I think avoidance and that leads to debt, and the avoidance of like, oh, I got this notice or I got this piece of mail, and it's traumatizing, or it might be some conflict, so I'm not going to deal with it. And then not dealing with it leads to it being past due and things like that, and it just builds up. And I noticed that that was a cycle in my family that I am actively trying to break. But it's psychological. It's a way that's like, I'm not gonna deal with it till it's banging at my door because I got too much other stuff to think about. You know what I'm saying? And that's definitely a cycle. I say the other cycle is not passing on the keys in the gym. Like, they're wealthy people older people in my family who I consider wealthy, but I had to grow up to then read certain books to have the language to talk to them about it. It was like a barrier to entry where in the trajectory that I want to take my family is there's no gatekeeping in the family. Like we are family, and so at a young age we're going to teach you these things and empower you to be able to have this knowledge. And even if you don't have the knowledge, it's gonna be instilled in you regardless. It's not gonna be some like um you have to take this pretest to know if I know that you're going. You know what I'm saying? You got this. Right. And I get it because it's traumatizing. I get it, like, the cycle of lending people money and them not doing nothing with it, or saying that you invested in them, saying they need a loan or something, and then you find out they not doing the right thing with it. I get the trauma, but I want to break that cycle of the gatekeeping of wealth mindset and keys and gems. That's like, it seems like our in my family at least, it seems like the older generation has their stability, and instead of, helping the younger generation not make their same mistakes, they're like, well, you got to bump your head and learn. It's like, no, we can actually skip some of these traumatic events. Please go back, yeah, it's like, no, we can skip that. We don't have, I don't, it's not necessary for us to have the same traumas as our parents, even though they feel like that gives you character and you learn and gives you wisdom. But you can get wisdom and knowledge from explanation and practice. And those are the two cycles I want to break. I definitely say avoidance and gatekeeping. And it's funny to say that like that happens in a family, but it definitely can.
Yeah. For to add to your knowledge, I would say for me it is um afraid that what you call like scarcity, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like bro, this your last dollar. You bet not spend it on taking this risk, right? So
Yeah.
scarcity implies that you don't take risks. And growing up, that's how the mantra around my household was. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Mm.
you ain't gonna have that tomorrow. What you gonna do? You feel me? You bet not spend it. You bet not go. In our terms, you bet not go invest it, because if you don't get it back, now you stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You supposedly use it to pay your bills, and I've getting to the point where I tell people now, bro, your bills are always gonna be there, but the opportunity is not. So
Exactly.
you really got to look at like, what is this, and believe that it's going to work. So now I live in this world of like, bro, I have this opportunity. Here is the risk, and my reward will pay for the rest of the leisure, ironically, that I want to have. You feel me? So that's the biggest one for me. And then I feel like our community as a whole, because I have a lot of stories. Like, I have a wealthy auntie, and I have a cousin who got their whole college paid for. And I'm talking about, we got the same grandma. We got the same grandma, and they have the same family home, but we literally have lived two different lives. He did not
Yeah.
struggle essentially growing up in our neighborhood. They moved away. Auntie had a Hummer. I'm like, nigga, I only been in a Hummer because you got a Hummer. So you feel me? It was just stuff like that. So I think that, going back to your point, we should start this cycle. And I love that you said that you are going to be the one who breaks the cycle and start it with the cousins that you met at Invest Fast. You know what I'm saying? The cousins that you met at Invest Fast, and your own kids and future kids, when it comes down to that. And I'm right there with you. I agree with that. I want that in the aspect of like bring that back to soul food. You remember the Mickey soul food? That
Hmm.
sit down at this big dinner table every Sunday, and we really sit and we talk with each other, like, hey, cousin Rod, how are you doing, what's going on, and be more open with the relatives when they on the same path with you. Like, if y'all are able to sit and say, hey, we all want a future, we all agreeing that we want to change our family trajectory, say where you are. And even it don't have to be cookie cutter, it don't have to be
Yeah.
perfect, it don't have to be pretty. Like, if you like, man, I ain't getting no grants, cuz can you help me out, auntie? I haven't figured out how to do my business plan. You've been successful, can you help me out? Like, be opening up. And they say your family is the first people that you're supposed to have this space with. And I think that we have to start that.
Yeah, definitely. And releasing the shame around money also. The shame comes in family, starts in family first. And so the family is a place that perpetuates the shame around money and money stories, and just I think releasing that and understanding that as a family there are lots of factors that contribute to that, shame or mismanagement of money that have nothing to do with how good or bad people are. And I think that, it's something as a collective, as a community, I'm sure multiple families need to release that shame. But definitely in mine it's like, oh, we got wealthy people in the family. You over here tricking off like what you doing, so they would be less likely to say that they need help, but you won't know unless you say something. But a lot of times people's drowning that they don't, they're not going to say anything.
Yeah, I agree. So, looking ahead, what does success look like for you in the next? I ain't even gonna use the term because in the next 3 years. What Magic Johnson say in the next 3 years, and how do you hope your family will see the role you've played taking on building wealth?
Mm. Success to me looks like my little cousins who are like under the age of 16 right now understand what the world's going to look like financially that they enter when they are adults. Some have of course, we can't predict the future, but success to me looks like preparing them so that they don't have to immediately go get a job at 16, or if they want to pursue some other things, they have pathways and knowledge about how to pursue those things. Success to me also looks like time and location freedom. So that is in tangent with being debt free. In the next 3 years, it is absolutely possible for me to be debt free. And I'm talking student loan. That's the only reason, only really, I have like one credit card. I'm not really big into credit card debt at all. And a
Yeah.
couple, a medical bill from when I got in a car accident and broke my hand. But other than that, it's student loan. And so in the next 3 years, that's absolutely possible. So success to me looks like that, and time and location freedom, being able to be where I want and when I want to be there. And not have to worry about the financial burden of it because I've created these residual pathways of income. In these next 3 years, I will be abundant in residual income to the point where I could work if I
That's
wanted.
it.
Abundance, you already know. You already know where I can work if I want to. And if I don't have to. And it won't affect my day-to-day life or my quality of life in terms of what I need to pay for and what I want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you pretty much said the words out of my mouth. Same. To be honest, I always say this though. Even though the path that I took wasn't perfect, the experience that I seen my mom struggle through was something that I want to change.
Yeah.
And that's one of my biggest things because I've seen to the point to where I seen my mom like cry, like bald face cry, because of what my other sibling and like my family was putting through her trying to support them.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, of course, I ain't had no job. Well, I had like a part-time job, so um, it wasn't doing much. But I didn't want to see my mom go through that. So that was always something that stuck in the back of my mind that when I make it, and I always say when as a manifestation, when I
Yeah.
make it, I can really repay her and say you no longer have to do that. Outside, I just really wanted to change my own circumstances, but that's really one of the key things that pushes me to get out here and continue to try to change our circumstance now.
Yeah.
So my last and final question to you, um, is if you could put your money story in a statement as to like when people look you up, right? And they Google you and see what would you want your money story to say?
Mm. Money is creative energy like a seed.
Mhm.
When you plant it and water it with intention and discipline, it will grow into what you want to see. And
That's
that's, I mean, it's encompassing all the experience of like is the immediate gratification. Yeah, sure, you can plant the seed of money and dig it right back up. You'll get it right then again, but it's also one of those things when you have a seed, you got the money, and when you put it in the ground, it's gone. And money is, as soon as you spend it, as soon as you put it somewhere else, it's no longer where you have it. But if you put it in the right soil, it will continue to grow and feed you, instead of just being spent. It's almost like a kidney bean, right? Or a lima bean. Kidney bean, you could take a kidney bean and eat it for sustenance right there. But if you take a kidney bean and plant it in soil and water it and invest in it and let it compound, then it'll feed you more abundantly than that one seed could at the moment. And so that's what I would have my money sentence be. You got it. Money is a creative seed that if you plant in the right soil, it'll be abundant for you.
Oh man, that's beautiful. I gotta sit on mine. Okay. It's so heavy. It's all profound and whatnot. Oh man. I love it, man. Well, as always, Kristen, it's great to have you. I hope to see more. I hope to see you teach little babies about their money stories and become this great media girl, media woman out here and be successful. Uh, and I will always continue to keep you in mind.
Yes,
Right?
thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here and have these conversations. I'm definitely looking forward to your growth as a wealth mentor and money coach and all the things that you plan to do. So definitely it's up from here. We're gonna look back at this video and be like,
Yeah, oh baby, we're gonna be on the yacht, so like, hey yo, remember what he said? Yeah, he said that. You said that.
in 3 years, it's been two, right? Yeah. That part. That part.
But
Yeah.
all right, beautiful. Gotta run. Everybody likes, subscribe. Oh, before you go, thank you. Before you go, tell everybody where they can find you for the audio
Yes.
and all that.
What a spiel. Right now I am on YouTube. I just started my YouTube channel, so if you're watching this, more content like this. It's KAT, and that's KAYAYETEE. So it's spelled phonetically. KAT on YouTube, and then on Instagram I am I Figure Deal You. And I have had that same Instagram name for years, and I just was like, you know what, I'm keeping it. It's mine. Nobody else has this name. But like I feel you, but I figure deal you. So IFIGGADEELYOU. I figure deal you.
Yeah, all right. Make sure I go follow her, subscribe, man.
Yeah.
She's gonna get all these gems, and we're gonna catch y'all later. All right.
All right.
All right.
Peace.
See you.